Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Extra Time TV. This is Sooklal, and joining us once again is James Baird. How are you today?
I am great. I've really enjoyed a few days rest and recuperation, and I'm raring to go again for this third, fourth place playoff. A game that, as I say, both teams will be wanted to win. You know, it's a game that, people say that nobody wants to win because it's the third, fourth place contest, but both of these teams will want to get their hand on that elusive third place prize.
So, folks, obviously, as James spoke about there, sometimes, the third place playoff gets a bad rap. People call it the loser's game and things like that. But, these teams, they both have something to prove. They want to step away from the tournament with, some silverware. They want to get that third place title. Morocco in particular, I think, and Croatia have a lot of pride. They did really well in this tournament, and I think they'll want to step away. But I have heard in the past players complain when they don't get to the finals, they're sometimes broken. It's hard for them to really step things up. We've seen it in other World Cups where teams have lost and then go to the finals. You think they're going to get the third place. I think Brazil is a perfect example, and many other teams that just didn't really get there. So, James, let's hear your initial thoughts. Croatia versus Morocco. Let's start with Morocco. How do you think Morocco is going to approach this game?
Well, this is an interesting game because Morocco has never beat Croatia. They've drew with them once, but they've never beat them. So I think with the wounds that they've had from the previous games, I think in our last show that they were like a wounded lion, but sometimes a wounded lion wants to bite. And I think Morocco will come back and want to take a chunk out of this Croatian team. And I mean, the Croatian team as well have quite a few injuries. So I think it's going to be a very interesting game because Morocco have shocked everybody. We know their coach has done a fantastic job of getting there. And even so much so that a lot of these players are getting talked about big transfers. For example, the goalkeeper Bono had a fantastic tournament. They're talking about maybe him going to Bayern Munich. So, and then they've got guys like Hakimi, Ziyech, and Nesri, Boufal, who have had a great tournament. And that man, Amrabat there. So it's going to be a very, very good game from them. I think they're going to put everything out. They're going to leave it all on the field. And I think they will probably surprise everybody and maybe just pip this experienced Croatian team.
Yes, and the game will be played at the Khalifa International Stadium. So, no matter what people think about this game, both teams is going to hold a lot of significance. To be honest, James, in my opinion, Morocco is a team that I think may, in my mind, and we'll go into a bit more details, folks, but Morocco is a team that really have a lot to prove in this because a lot of people didn't give them much of a chance. Now, Croatia as well, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they don't. But Morocco is a team that, a lot of people didn't give a chance. Coming from a small country like Trinidad and Tobago, making it to the World Cup, I understand the kind of national pride they had. If Trinidad got out of the group stages and got that far in a World Cup and we were going to play a third place playoff, we would be very happy. Yes, we were disappointed. We probably wouldn't get to the final. But that, just from a motivational factor, I think is enough to really amp these players up. And I'm not talking about tactics yet. I'm speaking about, the stature of the game, which can be easily overlooked, James. Do you think, I know a lot of people talking about injuries, maybe rotating a couple players. Do you think Morocco is going to go with their full possible squad available?
Well, I think they won't be able to because we know, for example, Sias is out. So they're probably going to bring in Dari and El Hamik, who will play centre-back for them. The other one that might come in is Amala there in midfield. But with the exception of those ones and their left back, which is Atiliat Allah, I think generally it'll be the same players. So the players that we've known who performed in the tournament, like as mentioned, Amrabat, Ziyech, Nesri, Boufal, so Bono. So it'll be the nucleus will be close to the same, but with those players coming in, as I say, I'm pretty sure Sias is not going to come. They're not going to risk playing him again because he came in the first game. To me, they ended up having to play basically like an old-fashioned sweeper system just to facilitate him playing there. He wasn't able to last out the game. So I think it makes more sense to start with a fit team. And I think the coach Waleed said that he would rather play players that are 70% fit and more than risking players that are 60 to 70% fit. So I think he will bring in these players. And I think, as I say, they have enough quality there to go for it anyway. So they will leave it all on the field, and we'll get to see the Atlas Lions roar again, I think.
I'm glad you brought that point up because a lot of people were saying the fact that he played that player that was not fully fit versus a player that, maybe had the fitness levels were higher, but maybe, it could have saved. Do you think in hindsight that, he learned his lesson and that's why he said what he said, why he's going to play the players he's playing, not just because it's the third place? He probably is realizing now he made a gamble. He played the players that he did and then realized, okay, I had to make early substitutions that maybe he should have done it the other way around. I mean, this is just kind of looking back at the France game. What do you think?
Well, I mean, you want your best players to play, and Roman Cias is their captain. He's one of their best players there, and I think as a coach, you will give those players the benefit of the doubt, and he did give them the benefit of the doubt. As I say, it did backfire, and on hindsight, probably if he had players that were a little fitter there, they may have been able to push France a little bit more. But as I say, that's part and parcel of the game. We saw it, for example, with Trinidad and Tobago player Marvin Andrews in Scotland. He didn't have the surgery and he played on for long periods of time. So some players can do it. I think, as I say, this will just be a step too far for Ciaz. And I think the coach will go with the fresher legs, because also, for example, Naef Agard pulled up before kickoff in the last game with a thigh strain, and that's obviously why they put a different left fullback in as well. So I think this game is a last chance for them to show the world what they have. And I think fresh legs are definitely going to be on show. And I think, as I say, it doesn't matter if it's ones that we don't know. They will still come in. They will have that bite. And as I say, they will definitely give that last roar from the Atlas Lions.
Correct. And obviously, players like Hakimi and so on, several times in the past, when you have these high-profile players playing in the third-place game, there were instances before where their clubs were like, that's not an important game. Why are you risking our players? Because they have to go back to their clubs after the World Cup. Do you think that will have any effect on Morocco tactically, or he's going to just play his best team and go all the way?
No, as I say, I think he will make those changes that I said. I don't think he's going to risk Ciaz and these ones. So I don't want to say I'd put my house on it, but as I say, I'm pretty sure he will make these changes. In terms of the big players, your Hakimi, Ziyech, they're all going to want to play, even although you could also rest these players. But this is a third, fourth place game. As I say, it's not a no meaning game. It still has a lot of meaning in terms of the World Cup. It means you're basically the third best team in the tournament. So all of these teams will want to win it or want to win this match. And as I say, it'll mean that as much as possible, the coach will play his best team.
Correct. And, let's talk about, before we head to Croatia, let's talk about the formations. They played that, adjusted sweeper role to accommodate, the injured player then. Do you think that they're going to go with the same formation, or do you think they're going to try something different?
No, he'll go back to his 4-3-3. I am more than sure about that, because, as I say, that back five or back four with the sweeper behind them was to accommodate CS and just to allow him to kind of try and just play through the game, soak up the pressure, play it simple. It didn't work, so he'll go back to his normal 4-3-3, and that will allow them to obviously have that back four, but it'll allow Hakimi to get forward a little more. It will allow En-Nesyri to have the support from Boufal and Ziyech. So I think he will go back to that, the customary 4-3-3. And as I say, it will allow them to play with that continuity they had in the first few games. And as I say, we'll get to see that driving force that they have there.
All right, James, let's take a quick look at Croatia. Croatia, we spoke about them at the beginning of the tournament. They started off really well. And, a lot of people were worried. They thought that, I think Argentinian fans, that Croatia was going to disappoint Lionel Messi and he would not get to the final. But, it didn't work out. Now they're in the third place team. They love that 4-3-3 formation. They're going to stick with it, I think. Do you think there's going to be any changes? I know I've read some reports that there may be some changes to the lineup due to some injury concerns. What do you think?
Well, I read, just like yourself, that Marcelo Brozovic was forced out in the Argentina game, so with a thigh muscle problem. So I've got a funny feeling he won't play. That's the first one. So Coach Dalek did say that his quote was, "We need fit players. We won't put anyone, even who has an eyelash hurt, not on the field." So it's quite a bold statement there, So I've got a feeling, obviously, Brozovic won't play. Sosa had a problem in the last game too, so I've got a funny feeling maybe Barisic from Rangers obviously may come in. But except for that, I think they'll go with their normal team. So those two changes, I think they'll play the 4-3-3 as said. And as I say, especially the fact it's Modric's last game, he'll be raring to go and raring to rally his troops and, carry them off into that third place playoff. That third place, prize, that comes with it. So I'm pretty sure that'll just be those two changes.
Yes, yes. And key players as well. I mean, we've spoke about Croatia in the past, folks. You can check out the previews as well. I'm a huge fan of Mateo Kovacic. In the last game, I got some stats from Opta Analyst where his pressing or his carries, which is an interesting metric where it shows his ability to run all over the field and press players, hustle. It was 33, which is a very high number, and in the attacking direction. So he carries the ball from inside his half into the opposition half a lot. And anybody who follows him knows this. He does this all the time. He did it with Inter Milan. He did it at Real Madrid. And he's doing it at Chelsea and for the national team. While everybody spoke about Modric and Brozovic, rightfully so, and Perisic, I believe he is the key player. I think he's a player for the future. I know Rakitic and players like that, they left many years ago. Well, they didn't make it to this World Cup. But I think this is a guy who will want to prove something. I think even though Brozovic may not be there, he's a key cog in that three-man midfield. So I think he's going to have to compensate, and whoever steps in for Brozovic, is going to have to add that balance, because Brozovic is not afraid to float around in the back, kind of pass the ball around, float it laterally, side to side, just like Modric.
Well, I think when you say that, Andre, I think Mayer will come in. I think he came in the previous games. So I think he will be that substitute that comes in. But the other one, I was just checking some facts here. Obviously, Guardiola had a little issue too. Mm-hmm. So I actually think they may even start maybe Vida or Sooklal in there at the centre-back position. So I think that's another change that might happen as well.
Yep, and this is something to 4-3-3, that seems to be their formation. I don't think he's going to deviate much from that. Do you think outside the changing in personnel, do you think that he's going to do anything different that may surprise or try something? Maybe he's thinking ahead. I know some coaches are like that. Do you think he's going to spring a surprise in any way or form, or it's just going to be same old with a couple changes?
No, I think the coach Dalek will keep it as close to normal as possible, just like his counterpart, obviously, with the Moroccan team will do the same thing. So I think this is a game they both want to win. And what we've got to remember is this has been two teams that are probably I don't want to say the outstanding underdogs, because we know Croatia got to the final last year round, but they kind of surpassed all people's thoughts how well they'd do. I don't think people thought they'd get this far this time around again, and they surprised us all again. And then Morocco have done the same. So both of these coaches will be wanting, I don't want to say get their hands on silverware, because they're not getting anything per se, but that bronze medal or that third place prize money that comes with it.
Yes. So a lot to play for, folks. Whether you like it or not, this is something, whatever you're there, it has a lot of pride to take away. Leave with your head held high. And, it's something that I'm interested to see how they approach, because I'm a fan of, both teams. I felt like I would not have been mad if Morocco got to the final and won the entire thing, if I'm being really honest. Although it's no big secret, I'm an Argentina fan. It's kind of hard not to love that Morocco team. But James, let's talk about the key players. We usually do before we wrap things up. Key player for Croatia, key player for Morocco.
Well, I can't look any further than Modric. Obviously, he's been phenomenal. Probably his last ever game, obviously, at a World Cup, probably for his country as well. So he'll want to go out with a bang. He'll be wanting to last the whole game or as much as he can. And then probably his counterpart, Amrabat, has been absolutely fantastic in midfield there. So it's going to be an absolutely intense, awesome battle between the two of them. I've had to look outside that, maybe the two goalkeepers, but as I say, I can't look past those two midfielders.
Yeah, for me, I just so I won't sound the same as you, like obviously Modric is my first choice for Croatia, but like I said before, Kovacic, a player I really admire. I loved him at Inter Milan. It was a shame to see him go. I'm not surprised he's doing well at his clubs. I mean, he went and had a part to play in Real Madrid winning the Champions League when he was there, and then now he's at Chelsea. And I think he's an important part of this Croatian midfield. For Morocco, that's a tough one. I think Croatia is going to come guns blazing. I think they want to get a positive result, Perisic and those guys. And I think the goalkeeper, our favorite goalkeeper, of course, I think he is going to be key in this game to keep that focus, just to keep them from I don't think they'll have it, but I think Croatia will want to send a message in the third place playoff. They have the players to do it. Morocco can defend. They're very organized, and you need that goalkeeper to be really sharp. I know a lot of people don't usually use goalkeepers as their key players, but I think he's going to be the key player. So, James, with that being said, final thoughts. Who gets the third place medal?
Well, will it be a beautiful day for Bono, or will it be a smashing day for Modric? We will see. But I think my gut tells me Morocco just going to pick this one, just because of the outstanding performance they've done in the tournament. So I'm going to go with Morocco today.
All right, so I'm going to pull out some interesting stats. So there's some data here from Opta Analysts. We'll use them. 43.1% say that it's going to be for Croatia. 30.9% say Morocco. And then the rest say it'll be a draw and it will go to penalties. I think Morocco is going to put up a good fight. But in the end, I think Croatia will edge them. So, James, folks, you can let me know what you think in the comment section below. Who do you think is going to win this game? Like, subscribe, comment in the comment section below. And James, before we go, folks, we're going to be at Smokey and Bunty's for the final. Be sure to come on down. They have a lovely watch party, stag and everything else. James, tell them a bit more about what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, come down and join us. I'll be flying back this evening to make sure I'm back for that game on Sunday. But yeah, Stag are providing a massive TV, which will be in the car park. We will have tables. We have lots of giveaways. We have that wonderful flights for two to Tobago from our friends at Venture World Travel. We have shin guards from our friends at Armorflex. We have 6-packs from Stag. There's lots of other giveaways from Stag. We have bottles from Angostura. Wow, so many things, Andre. And then obviously we have our normal sponsors as well, which will be there or thereabouts as well. So what a day, what a set of games to look forward to, whether it is the third, fourth place playoff or that big final on Sunday. I can't wait. And I can't wait to get some rest after the World Cup, but it's been probably one of the best World Cups I've ever experienced. And after all those wonderful prizes we've talked about, there's another wonderful thing we have. We have our friends at Natural Mystic. So we know in Trinidad, we love to go down the island. So check them out. They have a beautiful house down there. You can check them out at bookthenaturalexperience@gmail.com. We'll pop up the flyer on your screen as you see, and check them out for wonderful weekend rentals and during the week as well.
Yes, folks, lots of wonderful prizes. And also, just to mention, you need to come on down early in Trinidad and Tobago, which is where we are. The game starts at 11. So, you need to come on down, get your seats, come really early, take part. We have some little activities taking place, mingle with the crowd, have some banter, have some drinks. I would recommend 9 o'clock, folks, 2 hours before match. Come down, get your stuff in order like you do with the stadium. We're not in Qatar, but we're pretty close. What do you think, James?
Well, and I think that's a good shout. Be there early, You don't want to not get a seat. And the other thing to remember too is it's football fancy dress.
Yes.
So make sure you come down, and whether it's you're wearing your team's colours, whether they're in the tournament or not, come down, get your face painted, get your best outfit on, come down and have a great time. Say hi to myself and Andre and the team. And as I say, just have an all-out good time with your friends, whether it's a big posse or it's just you. As I say, we'll look forward to seeing you all.
Correct. So, folks, before we end things off, I'll throw another metric in there. The Google probability thing that we started using. Croatia, 41% for the win in normal time. Morocco, 31%. And in extra time, 28%. So it seems as if, based on all these tables and statistics, it seems like the statisticians have Croatia as the winner. So, folks, like I said, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment in the comment section below. Follow us on our respective social media. Head over to extvmedia.com, where we have interesting articles and our own take on sporting events, not just football, esports, cricket, and other things. We have a lot of things going on. But James, before we end things off, on a sad note, Sinitsa Mihailovic, I found out, passed away today. I was a huge fan of him. We all know him for his free kicks, his time at Lazio. He passed away at the age of 52, I believe. I literally just saw this pop up on my screen here while we were talking. So, it's a very sad day in football for fans of football. He was his free kicks were second to none. And then he was coaching in Syria. I believe he was diagnosed with some form of cancer back in 2018. And it seems as if, reportedly, I'll verify this afterwards, that, he died from cancer. So, folks, our condolences go out to his family and friends and, as fans of the game. It's a huge loss for football. So,
yeah, what a player he was. I mean, I remember from his days at Lazio. And then, as I say, I remember watching a video actually recently when he was coaching, I think, is it Bologna, one of these teams, when he was actually showing the players that he still had it, and he was putting a free kick every second in the top corner, and the goalkeepers had no chance. So what a player he was, what a coach he was. And as you said, he's succumbed to his illness. I think it was leukemia, actually.
Right.
I read it today, and I'm very sad for the world of football. And our thoughts and prayers will obviously go out to his family.
Yeah, folks, and for you younger ones who don't know, you always heard about Bend It Like Beckham and his famous free kicks. There are a lot of people that used to say he was better than David Beckham. So let's just leave it right there. YouTube, check it out, judge for yourself. And we lost a great one in football. So like I said, James, folks, stay tuned. We'll be having our preview of the big one, France take on Argentina. Check that out. I'll be coming up soon. Like, subscribe, the usual drill. And once again, James, let's end the show like we always do.
Well, after a very sweaty day here on the beach, I've been enjoying my pina coladas and, rehydrating and making sure I'll be back in time. So I'm going to jump on that flight to make sure we all continue to tune into the greatest show on earth.
Yeah.